No worries at all.
Good morning, everyone. I decided to highlight the topic of period poverty today and the impact that Days for Girls is having on that topic. Millions of girls and women cannot afford their periods, and worldwide, they still don't have proper access to water and sanitation facilities to manage their menstrual health and hygiene. But the next slide, please. Why does period poverty matter? It has a huge global impact that probably most of us have never considered. There are millions of women who are not able to work due to lack of access to menstrual products. Lack of access affects health, education, and equal opportunity for millions of women and girls worldwide. Lack of toilets and clean water is a huge problem in places like India and Nepal and Fiji, where our team has witnessed this lack of facilities. Sometimes a problem for us too. Um, Lack of menstrual products leads to school absenteeism, which is a real contributor to missed opportunities for girls and women. Health, education, and equality for millions of women and girls worldwide are compromised. Healthcare is not accessible to many women and girls in poorer countries, and they themselves are reluctant to seek help and discuss these problems due to social stigma and shame, especially where women doctors are not available. Next slide, please, David. What are the root causes? We've jumped over one, I think. What are the root causes of period poverty? Don't you love that picture? Clearly, lack of money is an economic barrier for women and girls in very poor countries. But if we think of this as a problem in underdeveloped countries alone, we're very wrong. Period poverty is alive and well here in Australia and other developed countries, among low-income families, as well as other people who may be homeless, who are especially vulnerable. Shame and stigma prevents women from asking for help in these situations. Um, I walk past homeless people in Melbourne and I think, my goodness, what happens here? My heart goes out. Women have to choose in these low income areas whether to buy menstrual products over food for their families. And we all know what we would choose, don't we? The lack of education is a contributor to period poverty as well. Girls may not understand what menstruation is before it begins. And last time I was in India, I learnt that 40% of girls didn't know what was happening when they got their first period. Another example was when I was in Fiji at the conference. A health worker told me she was out in the field and met a woman who grabbed her and said, "Please help me. I have 13 children and I'm pregnant again and I don't know what's happening." So ignorance is a huge thing to overcome. Uh, Comprehensive menstrual education helps women and girls to understand hygiene practices, product choices, and when to seek medical care. Myths and misinformation are rife in some countries with the idea that periods are dirty or shameful. Chapati is still a common practice in parts of Nepal, for instance, where women are sent out of the house to a hut or cowshed for the 5 or 6 days of their period. They're not given food or water. It's appalling. Um, Chapati has been outlawed in Nepal by the government, but cultural taboos are so strong and this practice still exists. Last time I was in Nepal, we learnt that a mother and young child had died from hypothermia while she was banished to the hut. Uh, School absenteeism leads to limited education, which then leads to lower paying jobs, reduced financial independence, and the ability to afford menstrual products. And there begins a cycle where lack of education leads to poverty, which in turn leads to period poverty. This is on the screen is an example of a little hut built specially for women who have their periods. It's actually not in Fiji, I'm sorry, it's in Vietnam. Women are banished there, so they're prey to all sorts of advances from stupid men, stupid men as well, those who are not educated. So imagine living there for 5 days without access to your family, food, water, and children. Um, the the next the next photo, please. This is at a school where we visited in northern India. Um, they were the toilets, so you can imagine trying to manage your period in public in a place like that. Those toilets were available for us to use as well, which we did, but we stood guard for one another. Um, the next slide, please. So, what does Days for Girls have to do with all this period poverty? Um, the mission of Days for Girls, most people know, is to shatter the stigma and limitations associated with menstruation. It's a non-profit organisation dedicated to advancing menstrual equity and health education. And the founder, I have met several times, an amazing, amazing woman, Celeste Mergens, who founded in 2008 after visiting Kenya, where she went to an orphanage and asked the director why these girls were sitting on cardboard for 5 days on their beds. And he said, well, they do have access to manufactured period products in return for sexual favors. And I think that's the the one thing that struck me, and I thought this is what I'm going to do forever to try and fix this problem, a little bit at a time. Um, it has a focus on education as a key strategy to help break this cycle of period poverty, little by little, kit by kit, girl by girl. The comprehensive education around women's menstrual health and hygiene, the comprehensive sex education, and it includes the distribution of period product health kits, which are washable, environmentally sustainable, and will last up to 5 years with proper care. These are the kits which groups like ours sew all over the world and growing. This can significantly reduce period poverty long term and its long term social and economic consequences. We're working hard for that. The next one, please. This is the Days for Girls office in Nepal, where we visited and learned a lot about the process they're going through to try and reach girls and women in Nepal. The next one, please. Breaking the stigma and restoring dignity. And again, education is the key, and that's where Days for Girls is having a huge impact. Education will keep girls in school and help break long-term poverty cycles. Girls are so shamed in school, even if they have a spot of blood on the back of their uniform. They are so shamed and sometimes beaten by teachers, unbelievably mocked by other students for having a stain on the back of their clothes. It means that they won't return to school under those circumstances. We need open discussion on this topic. We need to challenge the beliefs very carefully and taboos. It's very difficult, especially among grandmothers who still believe menstruating women are dirty and must be kept from others in the family, sent away. The Days for Girls has developed a Men Who Know program whereby men are educated in menstrual health and they become health ambassadors to teach boys and girls all about this topic. It's absolutely invaluable. There's support we need in the world. It's not just a woman's problem. The next one, please. This is a health ambassador And it's a great deal of fun when they present the program and they show explicit pictures of our biology and our physiology. And the boys are obviously enjoying all of that, which is wonderful. The next one, please. I just thought I'd throw this in to show you how we get round these developing countries. We rely on men to drive us places and stack the cars, and we use them for porterage of great big suitcases of kits and so forth. So that's what we do. Next one, please. Who is affected by period poverty? Really everyone. Global health issue. It's a global health issue in rich and poor countries. Sometimes women and girls use a variety of things to manage their periods, including rags or cloth, corn husks, dried cow pats, mattress stuffings, leaves and grass, toilet paper, or nothing at all. You can imagine the effect on women and girls here. Or you can't. I can't. The resulting health risks are unimaginable. Infections are rife, and the girls and women don't have access to doctors and are too ashamed to talk about their problems as well. Women in war zones are hugely affected. I think that I read a statistic in Gaza where 10 million pads are needed in a month to give to the women. And of course, we know that they can't even get food. So who's going to bother with period products? The next one, please. How we can create change through education and distribution of kits. We can help break the taboos. We build sustainable local solutions by getting right in there with the women in these places where it's needed. We encourage conversation about periods. I can remember a time when I would never mention, and I guess most of you men would never discuss with women the topic of periods. I guarantee. And the now included is the education of men health ambassadors, and you can see there they educate about menstrual health. The next one, please. I'm trying to rush because I'm not sure what the time is. How can
We've got about a minute.
how can we help as Rotarians? We can donate money and goods. We can volunteer or support a local Days for Girls group in your area. We can advocate for free menstrual products. I saw in our library the other day that menstrual products are provided free, and they they're there for anybody to take. I'm not sure that a lot of people who are homeless would attend the library though, so we have to be very careful about where we place these goods. And we can openly discuss to help reduce the stigma of and stigma and shame of having periods. The next one, please. So, in conclusion, I've rushed through this. I feel as though I'm really rushing. It's such a huge topic. Period poverty is a global issue. Access to menstrual care is a human right. Days for Girls is making a real difference, I can see, and together we can create change. Our group, in its 13th year, relies totally on donations, and so far we've distributed almost 3,000 days for kits across the world to 3,000 women and girls with a value of $75,000. Although it hasn't cost us that, the value of those kits is enormous if you want to buy them at $25 each and sponsor. So the next one, please. That's how many people across the world we've reached so far. That statistic is the latest one I could find. Nearly 3.8 million women and girls, which is wonderful. What was I going to say? Oh, we can support Rotary projects. Who was it? It was, I'm sorry, I've forgotten the man who's um, looking after toilet projects all over the world. That's a massive has a massive impact for girls and women in underdeveloped countries. So if you can support that building of toilets and looking after them, it would be wonderful. So there's just one more at the end there. Um, it's locally led and globally connected.